Hi, we're the WOW Assembly Team, and we are part of the Stork Valley Schools Trust that go into schools, primary schools in Sawbridgeworth, Bishop Stortford and 6 villages, and all of the Stork Valley area. We're here to present you an assembly today on hope. I hope you enjoy it.
So, I hope you're ready. We're going to play a nice game together now. What you need to do is very, very simple. I know you're all going to be fantastic with it. So what we're going to put on the screen are 4 emojis, 4 pictures that you might have seen in various places, and you've got to guess which Disney film they actually describe. So here's the first one. It should be on your screen now. Okay, there we are. So you've got 4 options. Have a little look. I wonder what that might be. Is it The Little Mermaid? Is it Beauty and the Beast? Is it The Jungle Book? Or is it Bolt? We're going to give you 15 seconds to guess. Did you get it right? The answer is, of course, The Little Mermaid. Okay, number 2. Here's our next 4 pictures. I wonder what film you think this is. Is it Mary Poppins? Is it Peter Pan? Is it The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh? Or is it The Lady and the Tramp? 15 seconds to guess. Okay, did you guess correctly? Of course, the answer is The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Okay, the next one. Here we go. Remember, we're looking for Disney films. Which film is this? Is it Moana, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, Finding Nemo, or Wreck-It Ralph? 15 seconds to guess. Go. What did you guess? The answer is, of course, Wreck-It Ralph. Okay, let's go for our next one. Which film is this? Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, or WALL-E? Give you 15 seconds again to guess. And the answer is, what do you think? Shout it out. Okay, the answer is Aladdin, obviously. Okay, which one is this? We've got a balloon and a giant house. It's probably obvious. Is it Dumbo? Is it Up? Is it Frozen? Or is it Santa Claus? What do you think? 15 seconds. Have a think. And the answer is, of course, Up. Another one. Which film is this? This is really obvious. Toy Story, Lion King, Pirates of the Caribbean, or is it Planes? I wonder. Do you want just 5 seconds for this one? Take 15 anyway. Go. It is, of course, Toy Story. No, I'm only kidding. It's Planes. Which film do you think this is? We've got lots of faces here, and they all mean different things. Enchanted, is it Tinkerbell? Is it Bambi, or is it Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs? I wonder. Here's 15 seconds to share with the person next to you what you think the answer is. And the answer is, of course, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs.
Okay, so we've been talking about hope in uncertain times, and we're going to think about some situations where things are really difficult. And what do we do in those situations? How do we help our friends, or how do we help ourselves in those situations? So, to help you to think about it, I'm going to give you 2 situations that I would like you to talk with the person next to you and think, what would I do if I was in this situation? So situation number 1 is, I wonder, so imagine one of your friends is upset because she's fallen out with another one of your friends. What do you do? How do you help your friends? How do you feel? Talk to the person next to you. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Okay, situation number 2. So I want you to imagine that one of your friends is crying because he doesn't understand his homework and he thinks that no one at home will be able to help him. How do you help your friend? How are you feeling? Talk to the person next to you. I'm going to give you another 10 seconds. Okay, so you come up with some really good answers, but here are some 3 suggestions just in case you couldn't think of any. A really good thing to do would be talk to a trusted adult. That might be your teacher or an adult at home. It'd be really good to talk to them about your problems. Another thing to do is have a listening ear. Be a friend that listens to your friend and helps them talk about their problems. And another thing you do, as I'm a Christian, I pray because I think God can help us in any situation. So those are just some suggestions just in case you can't think of one.
Hi boys and girls, at the WOW Assembly Team we really enjoy telling you stories, especially stories from the Bible. And I've got one for you today about someone called Esther. I wonder if you've ever heard of someone called Esther. Maybe you've met someone called Esther or you have a friend called Esther. But this Esther in our story is a lovely young girl. But boys and girls, she hadn't had the best start in life. In fact, she didn't have any parents. Her parents had died, and she was being brought up by her uncle. And her uncle's name was Mordecai. Mordecai. Strange name. Maybe we should say it together after 3. Ready? Mordecai. 1, 2, 3. Mordecai. That was who was looking after Esther, her uncle Mordecai.
So, boys and girls, how do you think Esther felt? Her parents had died, she was being raised by her uncle. What kind of emotions do you think she would be feeling? Here's a few emojis that you guys can have a look at and see which one you think best fits the way that she would be feeling. And maybe you can do the face of how she'd be feeling right now.
Now, Mordecai was a really nice man. He looked after Esther really well, and he did really good things. In fact, one day he'd even saved the king's life. Now, Esther had many hopes and dreams. I wonder what your hopes and dreams for the futures are. What do you want to be when you grow up? What holiday do you want to go on next year? What football team do you want to win the Premier League? We all have hopes and dreams, and Esther had some too. But one that she didn't have would have been becoming the wife of the king of Persia, a place called Persia. Strange name, once again, there's lots of funny names in this story, but King Persia. She was now his wife.
Now, Esther was the wife of the king of Persia. Wow! How do you think she'd be feeling now? Here's a few more emojis to have a look at and see how you think she'd be feeling. Do you think she'd be really happy, or a bit scared, or a bit nervous, or excited? What do you think she'd be feeling?
And the king of Persia, he had someone a bit like a prime minister that we have today. So a bit like a prime minister, and his name was called Haman. That's our last strange name for today, Haman. I bet you've never met anyone with that name before. And Haman, well, he wasn't a very nice man. In fact, Haman wanted to get rid of all the Jews in the country. He wanted to kill them. He wanted to get rid of them. He really didn't like them. They were his enemies. And Esther heard these plans. And when Esther heard these plans, she knew that her family and herself, she was a Jew. And she had to keep quiet. She couldn't tell the king of Persia, her husband, that she was a Jew. She couldn't let it slip that she was a Jew, or her family, because she knew how it would end.
So how do you think Esther would have felt when she found out what Haman was planning? Her family and her life were at risk. How do you think she would be feeling? Here's some emojis to have a look at. Do you think she'd be feeling scared, terrified, worried? Have a think about what she'd be feeling.
Esther was really scared. So she went to go and see her uncle Mordecai and ask for his help and advice. What should she do? Should she keep quiet? Should she say something to the king? Should she confront Haman? What should she do? I wonder what you would do in a situation like that. What should she do? Well, Uncle Mordecai told her she needs to go and see the king. Mordecai thought that Esther was in the perfect place. He thought that God had put Esther in this place for a reason. And she was there to help the Jews. She was there to do the right thing. So Esther scratched her head and she thought, I must not give up. I must not give up hope. And she kept going. So she planned to have 2 banquets. Banquets are a lovely, lovely party, a lovely time, good food. I wonder what food you would have at a banquet. Maybe you'd have some nice roast chicken, maybe some chips. Maybe you'd have McDonald's, I don't know. What would you have at your banquet? So she'd organised these 2 banquets for the king and for Haman. But Haman, while this was all going on, was getting a lot more annoyed with Mordecai. Very, very annoyed indeed. In fact, he wanted to get rid of Mordecai altogether. And when he went to the king to say how annoying Mordecai was being, how frustrated he was with Mordecai, how much he didn't like him, the king turned around to Haman and he said, look, go and get Mordecai, bring him here. I remember that Mordecai had actually helped save my life not that long ago. Instead of getting rid of him, I want Mordecai to be right here next to me. I want you to bring the most perfect robe for him to wear, with loads of colours. It would be beautiful. And I want you to put it on him.
So Haman, how do you think Haman felt when the king said to treat Mordecai in this super special way? Do you think that made him feel really happy or really angry or really frustrated? Let's see what faces you guys can make for how you think he would feel, and have a look at the emojis on the screen.
Esther went and told the king all about Haman's plans and his plots and his wicked ways to get rid of the Jewish people, including herself. The king, well, he was absolutely furious. Can you show me a furious face? He was angry. He was adamant that this was the wrong thing to do. And instead, he wanted to help the Jewish people. He wanted to help them so much he would provide for them. He would make sure they always had a place in his kingdom. And I think that's a really good thing for the king to do, don't you? But when we think about it, boys and girls, we know where Esther came from. She didn't have the best start in life. She didn't face some very good things throughout her life. They were quite tough. They were difficult. She didn't know what to do. But she never gave up hope. She kept going. She asked for help when she needed it. And she never gave up. Let this be a great reminder to us, boys and girls, when we're finding ourselves in difficult situations and we don't know what to do. Let's not give up. Let's keep going. And let's keep hoping just like Esther did.
I'm wondering if there's any situations that you're finding difficult at the moment. But what we can learn from the story of Esther is that even though she had a hard start, she didn't let that stop her. And maybe you can use some of the things that she did in her story by having hope and not giving up, or talking about it and getting help. Could be some of the things you could use to try and help you through your situation. As Christians, we do believe we ask God for help. and we ask for God to help with praying. We're going to just pray now for God to help us.
Hi, I hope you've all enjoyed this great story about Esther. We're just going to end now with a short prayer. If you'd like to close your eyes, it helps not to be distracted. And if you'd like to make this prayer your own at the end, then say amen with me. So shall we pray? Dear God, thank you for Esther's story of hope. Thank you that you're always with us in every situation. Please help us to share our worries with someone when we are finding things difficult. Please help us to realize the importance of talking. Please help us to be good listeners. Amen.
We hope you've enjoyed our assembly with you today. We can't wait to be back with you having loads of fun and laughter for WOW Assemblies. In the meantime though, from everyone at the WOW Assembly team, we hope you're well and you keep healthy, and we'll see you very soon.